We're live on Facebook. What's going on, people? This is our business partner friend, Kent Roberson. My name is Greg Smith. If you don't know me, if you're just tuning in for the first time, I've been in online marketing for since 2010. Been around the network marketing industry, direct sales, since the mid to late 90s. Well, actually, I got introduced to it in the 80s, but I was in my 20s and stayed with it, got out of it, got reintroduced to it 3 times. Same company, in fact, before I got back into it in around 95. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to reiterate from what we were talking about last week. If you joined in on last week's discussion, we just now, by our governor here in Columbus, in Ohio, he's implemented a stay at home for everybody. Okay, so I don't know if you heard that, Kent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I was watching the press conference. So yeah. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I was
back it up now.
Yeah, I was doing something else and then I got an alert on my phone and somebody was posting some other stuff about it. So I said, wow. But I kind of knew it was coming. And I don't know if did I give you the email about, my cousin sent me something about some about a national one, but that didn't happen. Listen to.
Yeah, I did get that.
Yeah, I asked him, well, where'd you get that information from? He said, somebody from his church. He didn't know who it was. I said, well, I'll pass it out to a few people who won't get upset about it. But, there's been a lot, people, you got to watch what people send out to you. And people send out a lot of junk that's not true. And you just got to discern what's true and what's not. Last week, we gave a lot of info on what companies are hiring work from home. I just saw, what was it? Amazon. They're looking for warehouse workers. But, with what they're saying about we need to practice this distancing thing, do they think that's a good idea? I know they need people probably to ship stuff, but, I got an email from Amazon that they were only shipping out medical stuff. They're not shipping out any books. They're not shipping out anything that doesn't pertain to helping people during this pandemic. So I don't know if that's what they're hiring people for, or I don't know. So all those type of stuff you might want to get for business, they're on hold right now until further notice. Like last week I got a email from my dentist. But my dentist appointment is probably in about a couple of weeks, but they're not open.
Yeah, I had a dentist appointment Friday, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it, so I called, but no one's answering the phone. So I'm like, okay.
They're not open either.
Well, they're not there.
Yeah. So, and it's amazing how people. I have a friend. Well, you remember a friend Tanya? She said something about yesterday. She said, "Well, are you making me some coffee?" I said, "Making you some coffee for what? You ain't coming over."
Right.
I said,
right.
For one, I ain't letting nobody. You remember, I got an 85-year-old mother here, and I don't need anybody coming in from the outside. Don't know where you've been. Just because you're not feeling nothing, don't mean you're not carrying. And people got to understand that type of thing. When they talk about social distancing or whatever, that's what they mean. And the mess what we see online. They didn't close I don't know why the governor of Florida didn't close the beaches right off. Okay, this is the biggest problem.
I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that at all.
Me neither. And I'm just wondering, all those younger folks, once before when we had this thing come out, they kept saying that this was primarily an elderly. It affects the elderly. I mean, it does, but it also affects this in what the high percentage of a lot of it is between that they're treating 18 to 48 or something like that. I think that's.
Yeah.
I remember what the numbers were.
Yeah, me and my stepson, we were discussing that yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and you know, he was thinking, he's like, well, it's affecting the majority of older folks. I'm like, well, from what I'm hearing, 54% is in that age group between 18 and I believe it's 18 and 54. So
Okay. Yeah.
if the demographic is correct, so it's young folks. Hey, no one's immune. No
No.
one's immune to this.
No. And granted, the older you are, especially having any underlining ailments, you're more and more susceptible. And I'll be, like I said, I'm 61 and it'll be
Mm-hmm.
a, but I ain't trying to, I ain't trying to be around people. I don't know. I don't know where you've been. A lot of y'all still going to work. You don't know where they been. And I don't
Right.
need that. I don't need that hassle. So I said, no,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't coming over here. And then I had a guy who was talking about doing some yard work. I said, Randy, dude, not forget about it. It ain't being, I'm being safe. You don't need to be coming out here. And he's still, I don't know if he's still working down at the what is the building downtown, not where they had the Arnold, So I
Okay.
just said, no, you forget about it. I'll let you know till this stuff blows over. No, like I'm doing, working from home, like we're doing right now. And what people are going to have to really understand, just because you work from home, and I want to reiterate on this, just because you work from home, you are still an employee. Okay. My
Right.
my cousin, well, not my cousin, it's my mom's sister's kids. They all are doing that same thing, working from home. But what they fail to
Mm-hmm.
understand, and she's made a mention of this, they are susceptible to being laid off still. Okay. But let's don't get it twisted, because you work from home doesn't mean that you are not in the same boat of getting laid off. You just don't have
Right.
to be, the whole purpose of you working from home during this viral pandemic is to keep the spread down. That's really what this is about. Okay. Now granted, some people are working from home now. Some people may have been working from home before, but the whole purpose of all of this is to keep people from spreading this. And
Right.
the more you understand that's why they're doing this, the better off we'll all be. Okay. We got to understand that you're still susceptible. You're still susceptible to the virus, and they're trying to keep the spread down. They even said that, what was it? Trying to think. China hasn't had a new case in 3 days. But I mean,
Right.
they've been ahead of the curve before we were, and they've been. I'm looking on here because I'm sharing this presentation out to some groups that I belong to. So that's
Right.
why you see I'm looking down. That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Well, I'm just letting the audience know that too. What people got to understand is this is the reason we've nobody. At least no, I haven't been in a situation like this in my lifetime, and I'm pretty sure you haven't either, Kent, and a lot of people. This is a different animal. This is a total, let me see something here. This is a total different, disruption.
I think it's safe to say that no one, no one has experienced anything like this before.
Right. And like I said, there's a lot of you're working from home from where you're employed, but it's not guaranteed that you're going to be able to maintain a job. And what we need, what we're going here to tell you is that. Hold on. Who's that? Okay. Sound like I heard somebody else. What we're here to tell you is that you're going to be able to you may need to be looking. Sound like I heard somebody else. Alternative ways of making money. We're here. What is that? I'm hearing something else. You hear that? Okay, hold on.
I think now it might be because I've just shared this on my phone. You might have heard that. I'll turn.
Okay.
Okay.
No business happens when you're doing technology. Always something. But like what was I getting ready to say? I was getting ready to say something about that you still are an employee. And my cousin was talking, my mother's sister says about, they are subject to being laid off too.
I am unmuted now.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you.
I can hear you both. There we go.
Okay, the gremlins have been messing around with everything on the thing. You know how they go. What's up?
What's up, y'all? Sorry about that.
Well, no problem.
Hey, what's up, man?
We just reiterating on some stuff what we talked about last week. That, like I was telling that you shared with everybody about all these companies that are hiring from work from home. And I just made a mention that Amazon is hiring, but I said also if they're supposed to be so critical about this physical distancing thing, and I just saw online, these people are piled up in this office. Who in the heck want to do that? Now we are on an ordered stay home by the governor as of midnight tomorrow. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I know about it.
Okay. So I'm just kind of wondering, well, what is Amazon trying, what are they going to do? Because if you don't want that many people around you, and this thing is still spreading. So if you're doing a social distancing or physical distancing, what I call it, that's not a good idea. I know people got to make a living, but like I was telling Kent before you came on, Drew, that my cousins, like I keep calling my cousins, my mom's sister is really aunt. She just had a birthday a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. Her kids are working from home also. But what I was trying to reiterate to everybody, working from home, the whole purpose of this working from home a lot is to curtail the spread for most people too that are doing this. Most people probably wouldn't be working from home if this type of thing wasn't happening. But you got to understand and realize we don't know how long that's going to be, what these companies' economic circumstances are going to be. And then you are still subject to being laid off, even though you are working from home. Okay? Right. Because you're still an employee of that company. So even though you are working from home, you can still be laid off. So what is your plan B? You're working from home, in the comfort of your home. Would it be smarter to have another alternative way to work from home, but controlling your time, your economics, and providing for your family without having to worry about being laid off, even though you're working from home, okay? And, a lot of people are really going to try to depend on this
stimulus package.
The stimulus package. Plus, let me go here and see if I can share this.
But they have to pass it first.
That's true.
And then it got to make
it hasn't even passed yet.
And then you gotta hope somebody ain't stealing it out of your mailbox.
Yeah. This is what I got. Let me see here.
You guys do your census yet?
No, I just found it. I had it in
No.
It's real easy. Just go online and do it. Now, the rumor is they're going to be utilizing that to help, determine how many people are in a household and
right.
how much they're going to pay.
I got it here.
I haven't gotten any confirmation.
Yeah, I got it.
On that.
This is what.
I don't know if that part is true or not. I don't know if that part's true. I haven't heard it from a.
This is what's happening in Illinois, and the unemployment claims has jumped up to 64,000. Okay, 19 businesses have closed in Illinois so far. So I just saw, where was it in? Where was that in? Oregon. It was like 100 and something thousand people have claimed unemployment benefits. I mean, it's crazy. When you got that many people applying, then you're going to be really looking at a whole lot of different demographics and what's going to happen. Even if you do, or even if you will, get any unemployment, you don't know, because to have that many people that are applying and to process it, you don't have the time to be waiting. So you need. Let me see something. Is this what it was? You need alternative ways of making a living. Okay.
Well, let me say this. Even when I was in school, and they explained to me what makes a dollar bill worth the money. Well, it coincides with the amount of gold that we have in reserves. I've always thought that was stupid. Let me explain why. I knew that even though I was a teenager, I knew that the amount of gold that we can have is finite. Okay? I think that every government should have the ability to determine what's worth it and what's not. Take gold out of the picture. So if Greg was an emperor and he put his face on a piece of paper and he said it's worth $100, it's worth $100. The problem is you got to get the rest of the nations in the world to agree that that's worth something. Right now, even if we don't change the system, here's another solution. The entire world economy should suspend everything and say, don't worry, Greg, you're gonna keep getting paid. Kent, you're gonna keep getting paid. China, we're gonna keep trading with you. Australia, we're gonna keep trading with you. Blah, 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 blah. All monies are on hold. What I mean, physically, when Kent opens up his bank account, he still see $2,000 in there. Greg, you still see negative $14 in your bank account from all your baby mamas taken out. Okay?
Why I gotta have the baby mamas? I always gotta have the baby mamas. You know? That's like the black guy gotta get killed in all the damn Halloween movies.
That's right.
First.
That's right. That's how it is.
Somebody's gotta be the one.
Okay.
Or all the black characters gotta be gay now. All the black male characters, or the gay ones, are transgender. I mean, it's always the black guy. But with that being said,
or the old white guy.
Maybe.
I mean, I've seen that too.
Yeah, I don't see it often these days though. But with that being said, because that's a whole nother video. So with that being said, if we suspend, so in other words, I don't care what it is that you do, the money that we're spending does not count against the national deficit or the economy, okay? So you can keep the money going as long as this is out, and it doesn't count against China, it doesn't count against Canada, it doesn't count against Australia, it doesn't count against Kenya, it doesn't count against North Korea, it doesn't count against anyone. The United States, nobody. It doesn't count. So we keep using that money. And then once we are 2-3 months out of this crisis, then we unfreeze it and we go back to the system of money that we're already using. Every country is pretty much having this pandemic. So why, you get what I'm saying? Because you're going to bankrupt different countries. We might go bankrupt, or some states may go bankrupt, or some businesses may go bankrupt, which is going to have a terrible effect on our economy. So if everyone in the world, not every single person, but every decision maker of the powerful nations, the first world countries and second world countries could say, listen, we're just going to put a freeze on the world economy. We're going to keep, because we're also trained on money. You're not going to be able to say to the typical village idiot, you're not going to pay him. He's not going to see the bigger picture. So keep putting money in his account. But that money that's being spent, here's a great way, a sports analogy. It doesn't count against the salary cap. Okay? So whatever it takes to get LeBron James back in Cleveland, if it takes $100 million a year, it doesn't count against the salary cap, which will allow me to get other people to help him, like a Anthony Davis, to get him role players like a Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter. I'm just using, get him a second and third superstar like a Paul George or an Anthony Davis, because LeBron's salary doesn't count against the cap. And that's what we basically have to do, is spend this money, because construction crews need to get paid. Health professionals need to get paid. Police officers and military need to get paid.
You're freezing. Okay, you guys.
Airline stewards need to get paid. And I'm not saying that Kent and I don't need to get paid. Restaurant chefs need to get paid. All these people need to get paid. There is not enough money to continue paying these people without someone getting laid off. So if we would just suspend, so in other words, Kent's an Uber driver, and he says, I'm going to freeze it and allow you to run upstairs. I know you forgot your wallet. I'm not going to keep the meter running. So for that 15 minutes that it took me to go on the 72nd floor, retrieve my wallet, and come back downstairs, Kent stopped running up the meter. And that's what we would do. But that's too much like right. Rich folk are not going to do that, because I want you to understand there are people who profit from war, acts of terrorism, and pandemics, unfortunately. Okay, right now, if you are a grocery store, you are profiting from a pandemic. If all your stuff is off the shelves, how many times do you walk in Kroger and all their stuff, not all of it, but a lot of their stuff is off the shelf? They're selling like hotcakes. Now, there are other businesses that are being affected by it. Restaurants that don't have drive-ins or adequate takeout, they're being affected. AMC, the whole Hollywood movie system right now, is on pause. If I was AMC, I would call the MIAA, which regulates the movies, and say, hey, how about give us permission for all our AMC members and the new AMC members, which I am one of them, let them watch it online. And maybe we'll, maybe we still charge the same movie price, or we just charge half because you're at home and you don't have the benefit of being at the movie theater. So therefore, AMC could still be making money.
Right. I said that to why, there was a thing online that's talking about that the movie industry, Hollywood's going to take a $20 billion hit. I said, well, wait a minute.
And they don't have to take a $20 billion.
They don't have to. Why don't they redirect it? And I think
$5 a pop is better than $0 a pop.
Right. The movie that's coming out, or did it come out Friday? Was it Invisible Man or Invisible something?
Invisible Man's already out. I went to go see it before.
Right. It's also being streamed.
Yeah, for $19.99.
Yeah. I didn't know. I just saw her the back end.
$19.99.
I mean, that's still.
I think that's a little bit too steep. I don't think that's going to work.
But you know,
I think they're going to have to. This is what I would do. And I'm sorry, I was cutting you off, Greg. Let me say this and shut up. AMC has, I think you guys know this, a membership called AMC.
I have,
and I have the Premier. I'm a Premier member where I get 12 free movies a month. Now, traditionally, you have to go to the theater to go watch them. What I would do if I was AMC, instead of suspend those things, I would say, hey, listen, keep paying us your membership, and we're going to let you see 3 movies and stream them.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
So they'll still be getting their 19. Guess what Kent's going to do? Kent just realized he's only got enough to work part-time from home because his job's only giving him enough to work 20 hours a week. Kent's going, for $19 a month, I can see 12 releases. Boom. And he can see them from the comfort of his own home.
Right.
Here's the other thing that'll make you go back to AMC when this pandemic is over. For those of you that are joining, for every movie that you watch, you are stacking up rewards. So when you go back to the theater, you got all these rewards for free popcorn, free pizzas, free hot dogs, free goobers, blah, 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 blah. You get where I'm coming from? So people could be stacking up their rewards right now. So that's what I would do if I was AMC.
Yeah, I would too. I'm trying to think, what is this that's coming on here? Trying to cut off.
We're looking at options coming up with payment plans.
Stop sharing.
And the sooner you can come to us.
Why did that keep coming up? I'm not sure what that was. That's what they should do. And they're what they're doing now.
Hey, in your screen sharing.
I'm having my internet's acting real stupid right now.
That's all right. Keep talking.
What was I getting ready to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, they just pushed back the release of Mulan. Okay, was supposed to open up this Friday, so I'm not sure when that release is pushed back to.
And I don't like that idea.
Me either. And they push back. Fast and Furious till next year.
What I would do if I were them, if I was the CEO of AMC, I would get on the phone with the theater. I would get on the phone and Cinemark as well. Let's not forget
back stronger than ever. Now, whatever the hell I was saying, I don't remember. But what was I saying? Oh, streaming movies.
Yep.
They pushed back
where you left off. Yep.
They pushed back Furious 5-9 to next year.
I think that's stupid.
That's dumb. Why don't you stream it?
Correct.
Now
stream it, but stream it to AMC. This is the only thing that you missed, Greg. Stream it to AMC members. If you're AMC, Strike While is hot, and Cinemark too. If you're AMC or Cinemark,
whatever, I'm just saying streaming.
But this is what I'm saying. This is how you stream it, because you gotta. So AMC, you share your revenue with the movie production studios. It's better than them getting zero, but you get a 4-month commitment. And this is what I said. I pay $19.99 a month, guys, for my AMC membership, and it gives me 12 free movies a month or 3 a week, however you want to look at it, okay?
Okay.
If I was AMC and Cinemark, I would say, here's what we're going to do. For $49.99, we're going to give you a 1-month membership, okay? You're going to get to see 3 movies for no extra charge, and then each additional movie will be only $5, okay? Now, what happens is you're going to get 2 months at regular price. The 3rd month is half off, and the 4th month is totally free. So you make them pay you $49.99 up front. Now, you got a lot of people that are at home. They're going to watch more than 12 movies, Greg. Some of them going to watch 20 movies. And then if you AMC and you Cinemark, you say, you know what? Our theaters are only but so big, so we don't get to show independence as often. But now we can stream So I would get on the phone with the little small regional and independents and say, hey, listen, how would you like a piece of the action? How would you like your movie to be shown? And I'm just going to throw out, let's say there's 125 million members of AMC Stubs, and Cinemark has 128 million. Think about it, Greg. Think about Julie Whitney Scott, my former director. Think about Charlotte Marie. Think about David Talbot before he was the David Talbot that he is now. Think about the Tyler Perry that was up and coming before he was the Tyler Perry that he is now. Getting your play or getting your small movie in front of, like, think about somebody like Brian Hooks. If you guys may not remember him, but if you remember Eve, the rapper Eve had a show with the guy from Grey's Anatomy. I can't think of his real name. She had a comedy. Yeah, well, the guy's best friend, that's Brian Hooks. He was in Nothing to Lose and some very small independent hood movies.
I know who Eve is. Yeah, I know.
Correct. Imagine little small companies like that being able to sign on with Cinemark and AMC. And even if it's just 60 million people, they got their movies in front of. This is a new business opportunity.
How is that affecting their, I understand what you're saying, but are you talking for the domestic side? Because most the movie theaters or the executives of companies and distribution and all that, they look so much on that international money. How will they get to that international? Because now pushing this back interferes with that revenue also. So if you're talking about AMC, I'm not sure where AMC, I don't know if they're international or they just domestically here. So if they're just domestically here, they're probably international
here, but they have some foreign films here and there. But this has nothing to do with that.
Well, what I'm saying to you is that this is how they look at when they're distributing worldwide. They look at that international all is also that money.
They do, but this is not an international issue. What the movies that I'm mainly talking about are the ones that are released domestically. Let's forget about international, okay?
What I'm saying to you, hold on, Drew. What I'm saying to you is that, granted, yeah, these movies that I mentioned are being released worldwide. I understand what you're saying, but from working in the industry, them guys are still looking at how am I, we want to get the domestic money, but how am I going to get that international?
Well, number one, I'm not excluding international money in my business proposition, okay? So number one, I don't want to get into deep semantics because that's something for them to fix. If they're willing to pay, let me finish. If they're willing to pay me or all three of us to work out the semantics, then we're going to work out the semantics. I'm just putting forth an idea that can actually put some traction for it. Now, I do know this, even though I'm not in the industry, there are existing contracts that they have. There may be the Actors Guild that we have to think about. There are both foreign and domestic, and there's different production houses that they're allowed to show and not show, but that has nothing to do with streaming. This is new territory for AMC and Cinemark. Now, to make sure, now I already have an existing business relationship with Kent, okay? We're gonna say Kent is the CEO of Lionsgate. Kent don't give a damn about Malibu. So, Greg, you're the little guy at Malibu. He's the big guy. So Kent's gonna say, I'm not sharing my revenue with Greg. I don't want to hold him down because I once was him, but you're not cutting in my pocket. This pandemic is already costing me some money. So how you gonna pay him without stepping on my foot? Easy. This is how you do it. Your existing agreement, when I pay the $49 for the 4 months, that is for the existing studios that I have a membership or distribution agreement with. The additional $5 that you pay a month, that solely goes to the independents. It's the same thing as having a cable subscription online like Hulu TV or YouTube, but you got to pay that extra $7 for Stars, or that extra $9 for HBO, or that extra $5 for the Smithsonian Channel. So therefore, the money from that $5 gets split $250 a head, goes to the independents like Greg. But that $49 split goes to the big boys like Kent. And that's only fair because he is a bigger piece of the revenue. I mean, Fast and Furious versus Greg just got a movie that just came out called Pins and Needles. Pins and Needles is a nice little comedy. It's great. But Greg currently has a following of 2,000 people, and Kent, you have a following of 20 million. Greg shouldn't be paid what you're being paid. However, this gives Greg the opportunity to really hit the scene running. After this pandemic is over, we got a few million people that know who Gregory Smith and Malibu Productions is. Now Gregory Smith got some donors that want to say, we want to invest in you. Let's talk business. Because now he's been, the biggest audience that Greg's ever been in front of was 20,000. His DVD, we're going to call them Tig-O Bitties. It was the plight of big-breasted women. He did a documentary called Tig-O Bitties. Look at Greg. Okay. Yeah, so he did a documentary called Tig-O Bitties. And it sold 20,000. It sold 20,000. But now Greg, but Kent did a documentary on Madam C.J. Walker that sold 20 million. I can't pay you, Greg, for the same amount he's gonna get paid. But now that you've been added as an independent to AMC streaming, okay? Now what's happening is after this pandemic is over and people's money start to free up and people go back to work, Greg, I saw that documentary you did, Tig-O Bitties. I saw that it got streamed about 1.25 million times. Greg, if you could do a great movie like that with, let's say you had, what was your budget? $60,000 was my budget. What would you do with a $16 million budget? Greg would pass out. This is an opportunity for new to get big. Every time that there is a natural disaster or a terrorist act or some kind of sickness, there's opportunity for someone. The unfortunate part of tragedy is bad, but there's an opportunity for somebody new when a tragedy happens. Think about if you were a security company at 9/11. Think if you were selling security alarms. Think if you were selling something, a bomb detector after 9/11. Your sales probably skyrocketed. And I'm not telling you to be an opportunist. It's one thing to be Senator Richard Burr and make money off of a tragedy before the tragedy happens, okay, and take advantage. But it's another thing for you to make money during and after a tragedy the honest way. And this is an honest way for AMC, the big movie studios, and the independents to all make some money, both locally and overseas. Because right now, what are they making right now? Not a goddamn thing.
They're not making nothing right now.
They're not making.
If they're gonna push back Fast Furious till April of April 5th of 2021.
I thought
then that's gonna run in. You don't know what's gonna be scheduled to come out. Well, you know, what is supposed to be scheduled to come out? Well, I think Black Panther is supposed to be. No, they're supposed to start shooting next year. I think.
Coming to America too.
Well, that's probably being pushed back also. I haven't heard, but I thought that wasn't coming out anyway till the fall. Coming to America too.
December.
Huh?
Yeah.
December.
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, everything's gonna be pushed back because of this pandemic. That's probably not gonna come out till next year. I bet you.
Mhm.
Just how they think.
I think that's silly.
But
I mean, a temporary pushback of 3-4 weeks. Let me get our lawyers together and ink some deals and get our IT guys to do something. I could see pushing back something a month or two. You know, your IT guys can pretty much work from home. So now you've got a streaming possibility. Boom. You've got some legalities worked out amongst your companies. Depending on the success of this thing, maybe it might be an ongoing thing. But like I said, AMC and Cinemark would be foolish to not say, hey guys, let's sit down and let's get some streaming done. And let's see how we all could benefit. And if I was an independent, I'd be calling AMC right now. You guys are just sitting there. Why don't you stream some independents? If the MIAA is not going to work with AMC or Cinemark, AMC, Cinemark, you're free to stream independent guys. Why not?
it's gonna push back the whole industry, not just movies, but you know.
They're going to let it push them back. They're letting it push them back. That's their fault for letting it push them back.
So who knows? We don't know. I mean, even if you remember when we had 9/11, that's when a lot of things changed as far as television. A lot of television productions halted. But what they did, this is, I think, what started the mid-season type deal. What I remember from after 9/11, you know, how we had these middle breaks and all these different, they insert these different shows in between the major ones that were major. I hadn't noticed that before 9/11. Not until after 9/11, we started having all these different ones that come in. You remember the seasons usually ended like what, May? Hell, now they ended in March. Some early.
Yeah, the seasons are so much shorter. Seasons could
Right, they're shorter too.
now.
Yeah.
12 episodes.
And I didn't notice that until after 9/11 happened.
Yeah, things are so much, you know, when we were growing up, seasons might have been 30 episodes. And it was, the off season was the summer, and then the fall came. And
then the fall came.
So when you say that the Jeffersons was on for 9 years, that's a whole new difference. Not for 9 seasons was 9 years. Now 9 seasons could be 4.5 years.
Right.
Well, how long has Grey's Anatomy's been on? What, 15?
15 seasons, but not necessarily 15 years.
No, I'm talking about,
and it might be 17. It might be 17 seasons or something.
But when they talk about season, they're talking about years too. Yeah, when they say
Grey's Anatomy is an exception, but not all.
No, you're right. You don't have all those on that long. But the longest one I remember was Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke was on 20 years.
Yeah, but well, Young and Restless got
that was a long time.
Young and Restless got everybody beat. And then Young and Restless and the WWE, those got everybody beat in seasons. Those two shows have more.
This is before you talking about?
No, what was I trying to say was, you've got some shows where you got a mid-season and another season. You also have some shows that have 2 seasons in 1 year. But when we were growing up, it was pretty much the darn year.
Like what's on OWN, you got Have and Have Nots, has 2 seasons in 1 year usually, because they're coming back on the fall.
Yeah, so correct. So but
that's cable too.
In the old days, a calendar year was a season, and they were off for the summer. And you had summer shows. We eventually got summer shows. We didn't have summer shows. We had reruns. But then now you even got summer shows. But, with that being said, I wanted to just use AMC. None of us work for them or Cinemark. But that's I don't know if you guys think that my idea is a good idea, but it's better than zero.
But I always thought that that's where they should have gone with that,
Right.
you know, to get some kind of revenue in.
Correct.
Instead of pushing all that shit back.
Now.
Because
Right.
now, if you're talking about 20 billion, then pushing them back to next year, then you might talk about 120 billion.
Correct, because you're not going to, when people get back to work, they're not going to have time to go to the movie. And even if they have time to go back to the movies, they don't have time to double up on what they missed.
Yeah.
See, you can make up for lost money. You can't make up for lost time.
But that's because you still got the people who run these studios and distribution. These, bad to say it, my earlier baby boomer generation have not grasped on the technologies that we have.
And even if they grasped on the technology, I don't think they haven't grasped the technology. I think that's a small part of it. I think the bigger issue is they're not hungry. So let me say it this way. Remember when we were at Time Warner, I was one of the people who got laid off, and how I got to meet Greg and Kent, for those of you that are listening, is I was a DSR, a direct sales rep, going door to door selling cable. I got laid off. My sales were so good, I got a call from the call center. I don't know if Michelle and HR put in a word for me, but my interview was just a formality. The job was mine based on my sales skills. That's how I met these two brothers, because I didn't want to be a call center guy again, but it was better than $0 and 0 cents. It was a huge pay cut. Well, how that ties in to this is, we've always said, the three of us have always said, that Time Warner has to prepare for streaming technology, okay? Grasping technology. Now, I got laid off, but it's mighty funny. The CEO and the board of directors at the time that I got laid off, they laid me and tons of us off. Remember, go back in time, Time Warner lost $2 billion.
Yeah, I remember that.
How about our CEO? How about our CEO and board of directors still got these big giant bonuses? How in the hell are you gonna get all these bonuses? Okay, but you're laying people off. So CEOs and high up executives, these guys are not hungry. Okay, they don't have. If they lose $2 billion, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these studios are still stupid enough to give everybody on the board a $2 million bonus. It might be in their contract, for all we know. Now, somebody like a Kent, he's the district manager of 3 AMC movie theaters. He's hungry to get stuff back to work. He's tired of checking his voicemail and email. Kent, when we going back to work? You know, I just had a baby and blah, 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 blah. The guy at the CEO level, he don't have to hear that crap. He's so far removed from the common man that his doorman might be making $70,000. He's not feeling the common man's pain because he chooses not to. We're in the world of information. We can, but he chooses not to. So the unfortunate part of this whole thing, Greg is right. Some people aren't embracing it. And the reason they're not, because they don't have to. They're not hungry. The hungry men like Kent and Greg make the best decisions because they know what it's like to have to say, I'm only going to pay part of my light bill because I got to pay part of the past due on my water bill. And I'm going to make arrangements on my gas bill. This guy don't know that kind of stuff. He's in no threat of being laid off. 1,000 of us, 10,000 of us will get laid off before this guy does. He doesn't have a plan B. And even if he does, not all CEOs are bad. Not all board of directors are greedy. Many of them are. But many of them don't have a plan B because they're so far removed from being broke. They're not desperate. A lot of them will sit and chill. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Friday After Next, and there's a funny part. Well, there's plenty funny parts, but Ice Cube, Day Day, and Roach was in the record store. Ice Cube don't work at the record store. Day Day and Roach works at the record store. Pinky walks in and put a gun up to Ice Cube because he think he getting robbed. Mm-hmm. Towards the end of that scene, you know, Pinky falls on a CD. Ice Cube was able to wrestle with him for a while and get the gun. Ice Cube's holding the gun, and he said, "I've been trying to tell you I'm Day-Day cousin." And Pinky's like, "Don't shoot me, man. Don't shoot me, man. I got kids. I got a mistress, man." And he says, "I got a mistress, man, and I got a wife on the side." These CEOs, a lot of them, man, they got wives and girlfriends, living masseuses, all kind of crazy stuff. They're not hurting. They're so far removed from pain. Okay, remember, necessity is the mother of invention. They have reserves. They can go 6 months without paying a single bill and not be broke. You see where I'm coming from? A lot of the rest of the—
I see where you're coming from. Is this, you know, if you hear, well, you just hear stuff online and say, Hollywood's gonna take a $20 billion hit. Well, you don't have to if you do.
They don't have to.
You know,
Yeah.
so why take the $20 billion hit if you got this?
You don't have to.
If it don't matter, why even talk about it?
Take a $5 billion hit. You know what I'm saying? Versus a $20 hit.
Hell, 20 billion. Well, I don't spend that. 20 million is what was the average production of a movie these days.
Mm-hmm.
Now or more.
Depending if it's an action or sci-fi, it's gonna be.
Shit. If it's sci-fi, you gonna talk about 120 billion.
But if it's a love story and it's not involving a whole plethora of big actors,
but I think why they say that though,
with a few $100,000 in your budget, if you've got unknown actors.
Why they say that though is because Fast and the Furious and Milan will probably make more money internationally than they will do domestically. That's what they're looking at.
That's possible.
That's
possible.
You know,
that's possible.
I mean, I don't know, so I'm just speculating. That's what they're
going to make more money here than overseas. Milan might make more overseas than here. But you know, it is what it is. You know, they need to be proactive. And people watching this show, you guys need to be proactive. So
right.
What is your plan B? I just gave you guys an idea of what Cinemark and AMC could do. They're usually the big dogs when it comes to you know, going out to go watch a movie.
Well, if you think about it right now, the movie theaters aren't they closed now?
That's why I came with what I'm talking about.
Because the movie houses are not filled up now. They're losing money too.
Still could be making money.
And the movies that are already released ain't making no money. The ones that are sitting there.
Correct, and that's why I said.
Yeah, and that's another thing they need to think about, because I just read that friend of mine that lives in Geneva. They went from 851 cases to 61,000 since Friday.
Did you say 61,000 cases?
Well, 6,100 cases.
Okay, there we go. Because I'm about to say, but
you know, they when I talked to her, when did I talk? She called me Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday. You know, she's right. Geneva's closer to that northern part of where the epicenter in Italy is, like Milan, Venice, and all that. They're kind of more that way. And I didn't know when I looked on the globe just to see where exactly where, because I have another friend that lives in Rome, and at the time when I talked to her, she said she was further south. It was more north, but now the whole city is locked down. It's, you know,
Right.
it's crazy. She works, she's been talking about working from home. She actually worked at OSU, but OSU has been letting her work overseas. She's actually from Rome, and she went back to Italy about 5 years ago because her mom and dad weren't well. And, you know, she's been doing like what we do on our laptop. So she's been doing that type of stuff for 5 years across the water. Okay. So it's here, but like I said, and what we were saying earlier, you know, you got to think about what, you know, when you work for somebody, things get tight. Even though you are working from home, you can still liable to get laid off. You know, work from home is great.
You're still expendable.
Yeah, you're still expendable.
Let's now let's remind people, and I know we've been talking about a couple of things, but I know people don't want to keep hearing us talk about the coronavirus itself, because it's not, you know, our this particular show is about Plan B. It's part 2 of what you can do from home. So we're going to talk about part B, but before we do part B, before we get into that, if you're watching this, please like and share. I know we were doing some, you know, some small talk. We covered some important stuff. I know we had our technical glitches, and again, Greg, you know, if you want me to, you know, I can go back behind us and edit this video, and I could, you know, make it where it gets to the meat and potatoes, and the little glitches that we had can be edited out. Make sure you follow the 3 of us on our different platforms. But what we got you guys here for is not just to hear us talk, but to talk about Plan B. And so everybody's got to have a Plan B. I know that's easier said than done, but one of the most common sense things that you guys can do right now, those of you, whether you're working or not, you could be looking for another job. Now, if you are a nurse, why would you need to look for another job? A doctor, why would you need to? A police officer, you guys are not going to be put out of work. You know, you guys are essential employees. Military, I've never heard of military layoffs. So I don't see. Correctional officers, you guys are essential. You can't let the inmates run the asylum. So, which that's a whole nother thing in itself. I am not one who agree with letting them go. I don't like that idea. That's another thing we all can discuss if we want to on another one. But those of you who are non-essential, Kent was right. You could be let go, even if you're working from home. Greg was right. So one of the things you want to do while you have this free time, look for another job. Even if you're happy with your job and you're somebody that's working from home, look for another job. You don't know what's out there. There are a lot of people, guys, that are going to get let go. And when everything is back and we're back to normal, some of these folk are not going to go back to their job. No. Well, guess what? They're job openings. And for those of you that are Greg's age and Kent's age and my age, you would remember a show called In Living Color. And there was what was the family called? Were they called the Headley family? The hardest working, and they had, each of them had about 10 jobs apiece. I love Kim Wayans on that. I love them.
You work 10 jobs.
Yeah, you know, and so when the guy, I think what happened, the guy died on the plane. You know what that means, girl? There's a job. That's a job. And so they all went to go apply for that job. Well, in truth, okay, they're going to be, Greg ain't going back. He said, you know what? I found a better job. I'm no longer with Time Warner. I found a better job with a company called Oracle. And there's going to be 1,200 Gregs that just don't come back. The girl that make your order just right at Popeyes, she ain't coming back. Greg, the girl that you like in German Village that makes your Starbucks coffee, and you don't even have to, when she hears your voice, I know, Mr. Smith, what you want, and I even threw in a blueberry biscuit, a blueberry muffin in there at no extra charge because you've been a long-term customer. She's gone. She found a better job. So,
you know, I've only been to Starbucks about once.
Yeah, you just messed up my story, but thank you.
I'm just thinking about that. That's all. I've just been
No,
there.
but y'all get what you
Yeah.
got to get what I'm saying.
But
So,
there's opportunity to, and there's opportunity to start your own
that's
thing also.
number one. I was gonna get to that. That ain't number one. But number one, do we all agree? Can all three of us agree that you should take this time to look for another job, whether you're employed or not?
Yeah, if they're out there,
Yeah.
you can go
Okay.
look. You know, my thing is, I think what's, you know, when I've been this online or this thing what we do, it may become more of the new normal than it has been. For the simple fact, I think what this whole pandemic thing has done is waking up, or it's going to wake up people to new avenues of, I don't have to go out and hit the payment for a job.
That is correct. I don't have to
Right.
spend a whole bunch of money on daycare.
Yeah, there's so much, the leveraging technologies that we got now doesn't dictate that you have to do that anymore. Where most people saw this, they probably see this, but when this pandemic happened, I'm thinking this is waking up people to the fact, well, really, this is real. We can do this, we can do that, and whatever from home. And I mean, like this, I'm going back to what Paul Zane Pilsner said back in 2010. He said, most technology is going to be made for the single mom, the entrepreneur, the digital entrepreneur, and we're using one right now that was made for the home-based business type to stream, to have conference meetings or whatever you need. The days of always having to meet somewhere, and when you can't do it, especially in the environment we're in now, this changes the whole dynamics. For those who do business this way, you don't have to be. This is how you can stay connected to your clientele across the ocean, okay?
Right.
Or wherever.
So, Kent, do you also agree? And again, this is step one.
Oh yes.
For another job. Before we move on to your own business, the easiest thing, because everybody, Greg, everybody's not business owner material. You know,
I don't. You know,
that's just
we always. This is what I feel about this. From a standpoint, see, most people think when he's talking about business ownership, a lot of people think I gotta go get a loan, I gotta go do this and that. Okay. It's just like everybody says they want to lose weight, but no, everybody's not going to do what it takes to do it. That's what I understand. I understand that. Okay. It's not that everybody can't, everybody just won't. I'm not going to say that everybody can't, everybody just won't.
There's some people that don't have the intellectual capacity. They have special needs.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm talking about the people who have the ability to do that. Okay, yeah. I'm not going into the people who.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't have a talent.
You know.
Or to go business.
I didn't think I had a talent for it either.
Hold on. Listen to what
I didn't think it.
Everybody does not have the talent to go into business for themselves. I'm not against it. I'm pro it. But if you have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, society's gonna die. So there are some people that need a system in place.
But what I'm saying to you, we're probably saying the same thing. I'm just saying I don't want to say everybody can't. I just say everybody won't. It's like, you know, everybody has a chance to go. Well, you know, let's put it this way. Back in the day, everybody couldn't get into college because you had to take so many tests and do this, okay? Now, they open up college there. Everybody, you got online, you got this and that. But still, with that opportunity, everybody don't take advantage of it.
Correct.
I don't think it's that they can't, it's just that they won't.
They won't.
And that's what I'm saying.
And but yeah,
you
and
know?
I'm agreeing with you.
You
I'm
know?
agreeing with you. We're agreeing with each other for two different reasons.
So,
But there's some people who won't. They would suck at running a company because they're not going to do the legwork that it needs. And you're right. Everybody doesn't need a business, and everybody can't even be self-employed. There's a difference between self-employed and owning a business. Self-employed, you don't need a brick and mortar business, but everybody can't be self-employed. Some people need the discipline of a system in place. So the most common thing that is almost universal, I don't even care if you are a high-end VP of your company may go under. You should be at least entertaining. You don't know what's out there. There are going to be companies that go out of business, but there are going to be new companies that spring up because of this. The next trend we haven't even discovered yet. There might be a firm that comes out called Bioflix. Okay. All right. Okay, Grandma. There might be a company that comes out called Bioflix, okay? And the company called Bioflix might be a company, it's like not Netflix, but it teaches people from home to do how to be, not how to be sanitary, but how to sterilize just about anything. So how to make your home a sterile environment, how to make your business a sterile environment, how to make your automobile a sterile environment. They might be the next big trend. They might be called Bioflix. And boom, guess what happens? Kent says that thing never is going to work. It's a $2 billion company in 3 years. You get where I'm coming from? You might take Molly Maids. Molly Maids might become the biggest cleaning company. They might kill Jan King. Molly Maids may start franchising out for $5,000. Okay, maybe cheaper. Let's say it just takes $1,000 to be a Molly Maid. And now Molly Maid is killing Jan King because of this. So the next big business, we don't even know what it is yet.
Well, let me say
we don't
this.
even know what it is yet.
Let me say this. You talked about this last week, how and I've said this also.
Do me a favor, please edit the part out of my grandma walking outside, edit
yeah, I'll just... Hey, some people might like that. But what I was going to say is that, a lot of people don't realize that this country didn't start with people going to jobs, okay? This country moved into the industrial age where everybody went to a job. This country started with farming and bartering and all that. We don't know if we may be going back into that same era, but from a digital standpoint, I don't know. And that's another thing I wanted to reiterate on people. Most people don't.
Somebody's got to everybody for somebody. Everybody can't be a chief.
Hold on, that's not what I'm saying. Hold on, Drew.
Somebody to make these computers.
Yeah, y'all both saying this.
Drew, let me say this. That's not what I'm saying. If we started out this country, and it's not even about being a boss and a chief. People own businesses, they own farms, they own this and that. If they did it once, and that wasn't about the boss were the parents and the kids were the subservient, the workers, okay? That was the day where people, if you're gonna talk about boss and employees in the farming age, that's what it was, okay? I'm not saying, I don't know what's gonna happen. It could happen that way. We could go that way. The whole demographics of our society could change back. Things go in cycles.
Even if it goes back to that, you're still, even in the pre-industrial revolution, Before the Industrial Revolution, there were people, we've had people who had jobs, people worked for the king. There was military around before there was industry. So there's always going to be worker bees, and there's always going to be soldiers, and there's always going to be queens and kings. And when I say queens and kings, I mean CEOs and high-end executives. So my whole point for number one, because we ain't got past point number one yet, is one of the easiest things for any and everybody to do, included in their plan B, even if you're a business owner, is shop around and look for, just like Amazon's agreed to hire 100,000 people right now. So you need to be looking at other opportunities. You may wind up leaving Arby's for Amazon. You may wind up leaving Amazon for FedEx. You may wind up leaving FedEx for Cardinal Health, but you won't know until you look around. So now part of your plan B should be to look around. Do we all agree on that? I said part of it. I didn't say that's your whole thing.
I mean, you know, it's this, I guess I'm looking at, yeah, you should be looking at all avenues.
So in other words, you say yes, okay.
Whether it's that or whatever. And when I'm saying that, there's going to be some people with this situation that we're in that may
some like
it on their own because they don't, you know.
Greg,
a lot of people.
Greg, you getting into something else that will.
No, I'm not. This was my whole point of this whole thing. Is what I wanted people to understand is that the people that weren't used to doing working from home may see this as an opportunity to strike out on them.
But I'm agreeing with you.
This is what
that's not part of point number one. I'm agreeing with you. You going into what we were going to talk about anyway. That's not part of it.
Well, let's go into it then.
Yeah.
Let's go into it.
Right. So
we should have people, because I don't want to be here too long because people drop off.
Correct. So let's go to point number two, starting your own thing. Go ahead.
I mean, and this gives people an opportunity of view, because, you know, there was a survey out not too long ago that said 85% of the people hated their jobs, okay? And even Les Brown, I usually always say, you know, Les Brown always made the talk about on Sunday nights how the heart attack rate went up because people went to jobs that they could not stand. They were stressed out. They were this and that. People may not say that to you to your face.
Right.
People keep that stuff into you.
Jobs.
And with this transition that is happening to everybody, this may give them an idea. They may have had some ideas, but sometimes when you're forced to do something, some people were scared to do it, may have tried, didn't want to do it, or scared. But now, if they were forced to go work from home, they said, well, hell, I got a computer, I can do this and that and whatever. Why don't I try to do this? You know, or you can do this while you're still working from home from the company you're at, start something else.
Tell us how. Let's talk about how. We already know people hate their jobs. That's been going on since the 80s. So we know that. So let's talk about plan B. And you're very strong on starting your own thing. You have a strong opinion on that. So let's talk about how we get that done.
You know, I'm going to tell you why I have a strong opinion on that. I hear more and more people every day that I'll come across talk about they hate their boss. They don't have time to do this and that. And I always reiterated this. I didn't get into doing a business just to have another job, okay? Remember, you know who Scott Michael was.
Mm-hmm.
Kent, you know who Scott Michael is. And this kind of stuck with me also. I've never been I'm just saying that I know everybody's not in the same boat. I'm just giving my opinion. It is unnatural to have to be woken up by alarm clock, okay? I got into business to do stuff when I wanted to and how I wanted to. I don't know who's out there that feels the same way. I'm pretty sure there are people who feel the same way. Okay, the opportunities are here now. I can direct you to opportunities to learn. Yeah, you're gonna have to learn a different type of skill set that you were used to doing when you were working a job or where you're working from home. There are different skill sets.
I was going to talk about
You
learning.
know, there are different type of skill sets you're going to have to learn. There's going to have to be a mental switch.
Let me insert. That was going to be one of the points that I was going to cover: re-educating yourself, and I don't necessarily mean school. But here's what I want to bring this right back to you, and I'm saying this for a reason. Tell us how. What people want to know is how. One of the things you mentioned, Les Brown, and I love Les Brown, but here's what I don't like about Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, and any other motivational speaker that you mentioned. They're great at motivating you, but when we leave, what the fuck did we learn that will help change my paycheck? I'm sick and tired of rah-rah, Zimbuba.
I understand what you're saying.
So what I'm saying to you is, you've got people listening. So let's talk about how. You're very strong on going into business for yourself. I don't blame you. I'm with you on that. I'm not telling you to give the whole farm away, but let's give people 3 or 4 examples, something tangible that the average person who's not a business owner can do.
Well, okay. My thing is about, most people come, when they talk about business, they don't look, and you probably ran into this, Kent, you've probably ran into this. This is why I said this is a great time for people to see the legitimacy of running a digital business from home, because of the tools that we have, okay? We have different tools to use. You can take any tool. Prime example, if you're good, I'm gonna give you a prime example of somebody right now. I don't know if you're good at cooking, pastries, whatever.
All right.
Barbara,
let's talk about
runs her. Well, she cooks. She has a thing called Barbara Sweets. She sells cookies, cakes, whatever it is. She markets them online. She markets them at home.
Okay.
She markets stuff online. If that's something that you are good at, if some person told you, well, you good with making your sweet potato pie is better than mama's great sweet potato pie. Okay. That's a business idea right there.
Online. So what you're saying, and I like your example, and I want to see if Ken agrees with this too. We all agree that if you can cook from home, because there's a thing called what's it called, healthy meals, something like that, where they deliver the ingredients to you with the recipe cards.
Yeah, I've seen that. And right now, this is a great time because restaurants are shut down.
Correct.
The only thing that they're doing that.
So you could do.
I'm not saying, that. I mean, that is an idea.
Correct. Well, let me expound on your idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kent. To expound on his idea. So, Kent, if Greek food is your thing, you could just do all Greek food from home. If soul food is your thing, you can do soul food. If Jamaican food is your thing, you can do Jamaican. If Korean food is your thing, if health food is your thing, if you're a vegan, maybe you can come up with a restaurant called veganism.com. It's or veganismeats.com or veganeats2.com. There's a domain name. I just gave it away to you guys. veganseat2.com. And it's an online vegan restaurant, and you could be mailing stuff to people. So that's one thing that you came up with, Greg. I like that.
And then there's another. I got another friend. Started thinking about that. She just moved here from Las Vegas, and she's a vegan because of her. She went vegan because of her. She had that. What is that disease that?
Lupus.
Bernie Mac had that he died scoliosis or something like that?
Sarcoidosis.
Yeah,
It's
she has that.
Okay.
So she changed all her diet
Okay.
from
So now that you
she
gave
made
us,
a business into it.
now that you gave us cooking, give us something else. That's one.
Oh, like you said, health. You know, health, you can do a lot. You can inform people about, especially today, about health, especially in the society we're in or the situation we're in. You can, if you're into health and fitness or whatever, you can take that knowledge, turn it into some kind of
Online business.
Use a platform like we're doing.
Here's what I would do. You can be an aerobics instructor from home. For all of you who got a gym that's closed down,
and that's going on now too.
An aerobics class from home. And here's what you could do. If I was Planet Fitness, I would say, hey, listen, I want to keep charging you guys your membership dues, but here's what I want to do for that. We're going to put our personal trainers that work for us online. And I wouldn't release it to YouTube. I'm talking about if you're a gym owner.
And that's what my gym does.
You would stay engaged. See what he just said? And if to keep your members engaged, what I would be doing is doing. So today we're going to work on arms and shoulders. Then tomorrow we're going to work on our core. Then the next day I'm going to show you some leg exercises. You could do personal training from home. And
with Facebook Live, you could do a live stream of it. Because right now,
I agree. The only thing why I'm not pro Facebook for doing that.
Well, I just use Facebook as
I want you to monetize it. So
well, you can do it. You can monetize on Facebook.
I didn't say you can't, but it's a whole lot easier off of Facebook to monetize it. And that's another discussion for
well, right now, what is it, 9 rounds?
But I'm talking about it, but the reason why I wouldn't do it on Facebook, I'm talking about current gym owners and personal fitness trainers that are affiliated with the gym. You can use Zoom and platforms like that and encrypt it, and it's only open to your people. But Greg has a great idea.
Well, you could do the same thing.
Hold on, let me finish my point. You can attract more people going through Facebook and YouTube, but I'm talking about reaching your current people. Let's just do a closed, encrypted thing, because remember, this is a product that they're selling, and I want to make sure that everybody's not just being privy to it. But if you want to attract more people, yes, utilize the big dogs like your Instagrams, your Facebooks, and your Twitters and your
you can actually also start a group with that, with the existing core audience you have. One of the things that Facebook's been promoting is group type stuff.
But
it can be private.
But keep in mind, Facebook, there's a lot of restrictions with Facebook and YouTube. The more that you can do on your own servers and utilizing your own conferencing, the better.
Well, that's and that's another subject, because I had a discussion about websites, whether you own them or whatever, and I said, well, yeah, you can own the content and design, but if you don't have anywhere to show it, like a server or host,
correct.
It doesn't matter. If them third parties,
because
you don't. You're subject to all that. But what I'm just saying to you is that for the people that are not that technical suave and whatever, this platform, Facebook, will be something where to start, because where the audience that you can target, and Facebook gives you a lot of tools for that, and a lot of people may not really realize that. To do that kind of stuff. Because like I was saying, that they just mentioned it on TV 2 days ago, that Jim called 9 rounds. He's streaming to his clients and different people every morning, some of his stuff. So it's being done now.
Correct.
Okay? It's being done now.
So let's move on to a third way that people. We've covered 2 ways. If you can cook, okay, you can start your own online catering or meal preparation. You can be someone's personal chef without ever stepping into their home. So take advantage of this, guys, because like Greg said, a lot of restaurants are closed. The second thing that we just said, if your health, you can personal train from home. The 3 of us agree on that. So let's do, what's a third way that they can make?
And what me and another friend are talking about, well, you can, if you're into martial arts.
That goes along personal
Well, that's a specialty, but I'm just saying,
it's a specialty of personal
specialize in that, because
Correct.
a lot of those are closed also.
Correct.
A lot of the martial arts schools are closed. You can still do a class.
Do we all agree on that?
From home.
Yeah.
I agree.
With stuff like that. I mean, there's all types of different things. These are just things that we're giving. I'm not going to go through a whole slew of them, but we're just giving you some suggestions that.
I just wanted us to come up with 3 to 5 different things just to give you something. So we came up with 2 and 1 specialization. Either you, Kent, or Greg, what's a third thing that somebody could do from home? We've got somebody who can cook. We've got someone who could train in martial arts or be a personal trainer. What's another third thing that they can do from home?
I would say if you're into, and it seems like a lot of people are with the Instagram, Twitter, you can have a political think tank, so to speak.
Okay.
You can set that up, monetize that, have some folks who are one way, some folks who are another.
I love that idea.
Keep the conversation civil, of course. Set the ground rules like, hey, if you cross this line, you're out.
I'm gonna throw in an idea right now that nobody's doing right now. Now we all see the political shows. I love that, Kent. I wouldn't have thought of that. We all see the political shows where some lean to the left, some lean to the right, and then there's a few that have someone who leans to the left and someone who leans to the right. But even those generally have more, it's usually not balanced. How about somebody be the first to do this? Have someone who leans to the left, someone who leans to the right, also have someone who's an independent that's non-affiliated with either party, and a moderator as well. So you've got 3 different sides instead of 2, and they're equal. You don't have more Democrats than Republicans. You don't have 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and 1 independent. You don't have 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat. You have 1 Republican, 1 independent, and 1 Democrat. And now you've got 3 different views, and you've got a moderator that's making sure it's all equal round robin. That could be done. And you can talk about the current issue. You can talk about preferred pronouns. You're going to get 3 different answers about that. You can talk about same-sex couples adopting children. Are you for it, against it? You can talk abortion. You can talk about, should we put more in the war, or should we start taking money out of war and start putting more money into medical facilities? You can talk about injustices around the country. You can talk about women's rights. You can talk about fathers' rights. There's so many things that there are issues on. You can talk about how corrupt politicians are. You can
talk about anything, because like you said, like you said, you didn't like the rah-rah stuff like Tim Robbins? Well, what I'm saying is you can have a group.
I'm just saying motivation.
Yeah, but you can actually have a group for those type of people, because some people need that.
Right.
Some people, you can actually have a group. You can monetize that group, because Diane Hockman has a thing she does every 4th Thursday of the month, she charges for this group. It's called the Deep Abyss. And it's done on a private group on Facebook.
Well, Kent, you said it best. You said a political think tank, and Greg, you said monetize it. Yes, Kent, you are absolutely right. A political think tank can be monetized, but you got to give me something that CNN and Fox and MSNBC's not already given us. You got to give us. So what you have to come up with, what does a think tank do? They come up with solutions. So if Kent's think tank is coming up with solutions, we just don't know how big. Here's the other thing. You could be a stockbroker or an investor. You could have an online investment group. Do you know?
There's one.
You know, an online investment group. What to invest in this pandemic, and when we come out of it, what companies should you be watching? You know how valuable that information would be? You could have but I would not broadcast that on Facebook, with the exception of, this is how I would do it. If I broadcast on Facebook and YouTube, it's only to give you basic stuff, just to tickle your taste buds and to get you excited and say, hey, for the real stuff, where I'm going to tell you what to look at and why, and how I choose the stocks that I choose and the investments that I'm investing in, you need to be a part of my investment group. And that's on our private channel, blah, 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 blah. And there's a 12-month commitment. You pay it up front. Boom. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's what's her name? Tracy Walker. You ever heard of her?
Oh, yeah. Boyce Watkins does it.
Yeah, Boyce Watkins. Yeah, I know.
Listen, I'm not going to put anybody above Boyce Watkins, with the exception of a Warren Buffett. I love Boyce, but I wouldn't put anybody for investment advice above the world's greatest investor. That's Warren Buffett. So, but there are investment groups that are out there, okay? That's another thing that you guys can start. Here's another thing, something that I think, and I'm speaking to Black folk directly, but that doesn't mean I'm ostracizing Caucasian folk, Asian folk, or any other persuasion. I'm not ostracizing you, but I'm saying the need in the Black community is more. What we should start doing, okay, are what they call super clusters. Now's a great time for Black folk to do super clusters. Asians have been doing it for a long time. And what's so brilliant about the Asian super
cluster? Did you say super cluster?
Yeah, I'm going to explain it in just a sec. What's so brilliant about Asians, and I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to be stereotypical and say Asians are brilliant and everybody else isn't, but they are the smallest voter turnout in the United States. But they are a group that gets what they want because they put their money together and they pay lobbyists and other people and say, this is what we want. And Asians don't say, well, I want you to represent people of yellow color. We Black folk, well, we want you to represent people of color. People of color are also certain Hispanics and Native Americans. Those are people of color still. No, Asians say, let me tell you what we want you to do for us. Not for, Hispanics, let me tell you what we want you to do for us. Nobody gets upset with white people when white people look out for their own interests, when it's all fair and above board, of course. But when Black folk try to look out for each other, people get threatened by that. And there's always something that breaks us up. But now more than ever is a great time to get with people and use the internet to recruit people that you can trust or build a trust with and form super clusters. You can start with your community, you can start with your city, and you take those monies and you invest in the companies and the politicians that are gonna get you what you want. We are the only folk that don't hold politicians accountable for doing for us. We dumb enough to vote Democrat all these years, and the Democratic Party ain't doing nothing for us. Why? They don't have to, because most black dummies are gonna vote for the Democratic Party. They're not gonna say, hey, Democrats, work for my vote. They don't understand what quid pro quo is. That means you got to give me something if you want something from me. White people understand that, and have been understanding that shit for years.
Yeah,
Understand that and have been understanding that.
Basically, you're saying you got to pay for the vote. You got see, both parties will take your vote, but for something to get done in your communities or your wherever, you're gonna have to give up something monetarily.
You're gonna have to give up something monetarily, and I don't mean bribing politicians.
No.
I know you. No. Hold on, Greg. I know you understand. This isn't for you. This is for the people that's listening. I'm not talking about bribing politicians. What I'm talking about is taking that money, and if you want better parks in your neighborhood, you say, hey, not only are we putting our money together, but we're putting our votes together, okay? Start with your community, because trying to get the whole country together is gonna be tough. Getting your community together is already tough enough. But let's just say we represent Black folks in Bexley, and what we want is an African-American museum. That's great that you want it. Are you willing to pay for it? Well, let's say you start a political party in Ohio, and it's called African Americans, no, Buckeye Africa. I'm just gonna put the Buckeye State and Africa together. Buckeye Africa. And that's your political party. Now, it's not nationwide, it's statewide. And you say to the Democrats and Republicans, you gotta earn our damn vote. We want parks in Bexley. We want at least 1-2 schools to be for us. We want this, that, and the other thing. And we also want positions on community boards where we can investigate police officers. We want above board policies and procedures when it comes to bank loans and extending credits. So we want to sit on those boards. Well, now, if you were to ask for that, people are going to laugh at you because, one, your vote isn't united. They can predict where your vote goes because it always goes to the Democrat. And two, you ain't putting up any money. But if you was to say, I'm going to withhold my vote, and you got to come to our town hall meetings, I represent 87,000 people. I'm just using that as an example. In Ohio, my vote can swing, you know, a state election. It may not be able to swing a national one. And of course, local county elections. 87,000 means a whole lot in a local election. If you're not getting me this list of things, my vote's going to go to the guy running against you. Or my vote's not going to go to neither one of you, and you got to take your chances. But keep in mind, Democrats already know that the majority of us are going to vote for them. And when you take certain attorneys and certain lobbyists and you put money in their hands and say, get us this, we're going to give you half the money up front, and if you don't get us this, we're going to use the rest of this money to sue your ass. You're going to get us this. Money talks, bullshit walks. So you've got to unite numbers wise with your votes and money wise. So I have a lot of respect for middle class folk and above who puts their money together and say, we want our communities gated. That didn't just happen. They put their money together and got that. When you go into a neighborhood in Miami, Florida, that has a security guard driving around, they put their money together for that, okay? That block just wasn't built and a security guard just appeared out of magic. They built that when they got these bike trails and all that. Their property taxes or their own monies from the businesses that are in that neighborhood help pay for that. So when you form super clusters and you put people with experience, not politicians, above that board, so you've got 12 people on that board that you can trust and everything's done above board, then you take your lobbyists and they get in these politicians' face and say, if you want our money and our votes, God damn it, this is what you're gonna do. So now, even though a supercluster is not making you money per se, it's making your quality of life better. So when Kent's daughter and her boyfriend is in a group of 8 people, and this sadidi, racist bigot in Guyana calls the police officer responds with respect and says, hey, we got a complaint. You look like a nice group of kids to me. If you're loud, guys, kind of be quiet. Have a great night. I'll let my captain know that I've been here. Versus the cop that says, all right, get on the goddamn ground. And somebody gets shot. Just because they're black, they're considered a gang. These kind of things don't happen when police officers know you got the money to get to the police chief and the mayor. And I'm not throwing police officers under the bus. There's a whole lot of other things that we need to get taken care of in the black community. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand, because you don't see, as you said, with the Asian community, all the Asian communities, Chinatowns that I've been to, I never seen a cop be riding around in there.
Absolutely.
I never seen an Asian. I said, wonder why this. And as I got older, I said, oh, I understand.
I've never seen an Asian get brutalized by a police officer.
No.
Rodney King wasn't Asian, was he?
I have either.
Correct. Was Rodney King Asian?
No.
Let me ask you this. Was Mike Brown Asian?
No.
Okay. How about Trayvon Martin? Was Trayvon Martin Asian? Nope. Sandra Bland was Asian, wasn't she? So you guys get what I'm saying? And
I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying what Asian, because Asians are being targeted right now because they're calling it
because yeah.
But no, you know what? Let me take that back. Because of stupidity. You can call it what you want. That don't give you a reason to go beat up somebody that's Asian. Just like after 9/11, that don't give you, after 9/11, excuse me, that doesn't give you a reason, a justifiable reason to take everyone that looks like they're from the Middle East and jump them. So forget about that. You know, that's just stupidity. It's stupidity. So my thing is, right now, a supercluster would be a great idea. Black folk starting to take political power that they should have had years ago, but they're never going to take us seriously because we're not banding together and we're not showing them some currency. Start putting your money together and your vote together and watch how things start changing.
Yeah.
So even though, again, this is not necessarily here to make you money, but it's also here, a supercluster exists to give you a better quality of life.
And Dr. Claude Anderson talked about that on the recent video. I saw him with what's his name?
When does he not talk about it? But speaking of Claude Anderson, just like we said last time out, read Powernomics. There are so many black folks that are out there that have not read Powernomics. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And this is not to put you down, but damn it, you got to stop settling for being second-class citizens.
He said
it's not going to get done by 100 people. It's got to be a movement. We're not finished. There's still a lot of work, and I get sick and tired of hearing the NAACP and other organizations talking about black and brown people. No, goddammit, let's talk about black people. Black people need your help. Hispanics got their act together. Asians and Jews, they have their act together. Native Americans have been given reparations. I'm not saying that their neighborhoods don't have any cons to their pros, that they don't have any issues, that everybody white gets treated, is privileged. No, that's not what I'm saying. Not every Native American owns a casino. No, not every Middle Easterner owns his own business. Not every Asian is great at math and makes $80,000 a year as a computer programmer or an engineer. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, when it comes to injustices and unequal treatment, Blacks are at the top of those lists. And so Black folk need to bring their money together in super clusters, hire attorneys and lobbyists to get what they need. Okay.
And
Now is as great a time to do it as ever.
yeah, and we need, you know, Claude Anderson said, there's not any more. We got neighborhoods, but we don't have any communities.
Correct. Powernomics.
Power.
Everybody.
Power does not come from a neighborhood. It comes from communities that you control. You control your politics. You control your economics, and you control your spiritual things too.
None of us, and I don't even want to talk about these churches because y'all gonna go there. But none of the three of us get any money from saying, go right now, today, and read Powernomics by Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson, excuse me. C-L-A-U-D, there's no E at the end. Last name Anderson, which you should already know how to spell. Dr. Claude Anderson, the book Powernomics.
You also should read Black Labor, White Wealth.
Hold on. Let's just take them to the meat and potatoes.
Well, that was the first book.
Black Labor, but Black Labor and White Wealth, I love the book. It just talks about the problem. Powernomics talks about the solution.
Well, yeah, I understand. Hold on. But even he said, when I just saw him a couple of days ago, he said you need both of these books because you're not going to understand the Powernomics unless you understand the history behind it. I mean, that's quote what he said, okay? He said you need both Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics together.
All right. I agree with both books.
Okay.
I will tell you the difference between those books. Powernomics is the solution. Black Labor, White Wealth is the problem. However, he goes in extremely deep, and some of you need Black Labor, White Labor, White Wealth. Some of you need that book because you don't realize you're in a war. You don't realize you're in an economic war. You don't realize you're in a classification war. You don't realize that you're being pushed to the bottom of the totem pole. You don't realize that there are distractions being sent to you so you can stay at the bottom. So there are many of you that need your eyes open. Those of you whose eyes are open can skip to Powernomics, not those of you who think your eyes open. If you don't frequent Black businesses or try to frequent Black businesses, just because you call yourself woke, you're not woke. You don't know. If you can't tell me the companies that are on the minority friendly list and some of the ones that are not, you're not woke. You're not trying to do it. If you don't know who Claude Anderson is, if you don't know who Boyce Watkins is, if you don't know who Umar Anderson is, not Umar Anderson. Oh my God. But the point is, if you don't know, if you've never seen Hidden Colors, if you've never read Roots, forget watching it. If you've never actually read Roots, okay, you're not as woke as you think you are. For those of you that do realize, if you are a person that talks like this and say, oh, we've overcome, that was the 60s, that was the 70s, that was the 50s, you're an idiot. Because Trey Martin died in 2012. That wasn't that long ago. I mean, we still get so you understand where I'm coming from? That wasn't that long ago. Trayvon got killed like Emmett Till got killed, except Emmett got tortured. You understand? All three of the guys who did it got off. The two that killed Emmett and the one that killed Trayvon. All three got off. You mean to tell me 50 years later we ain't learned a goddamn thing? So for those of you that don't realize that you are in a war, that you are being thrown the scraps, and Greg and Kent are fighting over the scraps, while they're distracted, I'm getting the meal. and they're about to kill each other over scraps. And the meal's so big, I can't even eat it all. It's like a buffet in Las Vegas. I can't even eat it all. And they're in the back in the trash dumpster fighting over scraps. That's you if you are not aware of what's going on politically, what's going on economically, which politics and economics are close bedfellows. What's going on in your community, what's going on in your city, your state, and your country. If you don't know these things, if you think everything is honky-dory, if you think life is just about chasing, for guys, just chasing pussy, I'm gonna get me some hoes this weekend. If that's your life, you're stupid. If you don't understand that you gotta make life better for your children, even if your life, if you are elderly and you don't understand that your work is not done, if you are able to breathe, if you're in your right mind, if you're able to communicate your experiences as elderly, your job is not done. You need to go and pass on your wisdom, because your grandchildren and great-grandchildren are inheriting, excuse my language, a fucked up world. And you still got breath in your body to give them the wisdom that they need. Will everybody listen? No. But if you can get 1 out of 10 to listen, if you can get 1 out of 100 to listen, that's better than not trying and getting 0 out of 2 billion to not listen. So we definitely got to have super clusters right now.
Okay. Well, look, we've been on here 2 hours.
No.
A lot's been said. If you like what you hear, follow, subscribe to my Facebook Live if you haven't. I also have a YouTube channel, GJS Enterprises Marketing, up on YouTube. If you haven't, if you're not following me, follow me on Facebook here. I have a few other Facebook channels also. I have one called, we're talking about health. I do have one, what they call True Wealth is Your Health. That's what it's called. Okay. So I'm gonna end this now because we've been on it 2 hours. Anybody else got any thoughts to when we go out of here? You got any thoughts, Kent, Drew, any other things?
Just real quick. We're all advocates of owning our own businesses, and just a quick background on why I feel the way I feel about corporate America. Yeah, I was one of those guys. You work hard, do what you're supposed to do. It will be its own reward. Well, after the company that I worked for 9.5 years, and it was a contract, but they were going to convert me over to full time, but I was supposed to take the test, and I'm like, I have no problems taking the test. I took the test, but I feel I shouldn't have to if I'm going to be doing the same job. And you mean my 9.5 years is not worth the time that I put in? And the human resources person said, well, we appreciate your service, but frankly, no.
Got a funny way of showing it.
Point blank, like that. And then I spoke to the CEO, set up a meeting about a few months later before they were about to eliminate the position, not just mine, but several others. You know how they do mainstream or streamlining. So I spoke to him and I said, well, do you not think that my years of service and some of the things that I helped do to expand the department, that is not a viable asset. And they said, well, from what we hear from your supervisors, that your work was not that great. And looked at him. I said, with all due respect, if it was not that great, why was I still employed?
Yeah, for 9 years.
Yeah, for 9 years, they're gonna tell you you weren't that great of an employee.
Right, right. And he couldn't give me an answer.
Mm.
And I said, well, I appreciate your time. You really taught me something. And he said, what was that? And I said, well, not that you want to hear it, but never balance great to ask for your employment.
Mm.
And I walked out. So from that point on, you know, I said, someday, I'm going to have my own business, and I'm going to have one day I'm going to have the freedom to walk away and never look back.
Yeah.
So that's my motivation for not only myself, but helping others who want that same thing.
My motivation is, you know, you can't be a three-legged table and hold up a desk. You know, you can't support somebody else with 3 legs. So you got to get your independence if you want to go out and help other people. So my motivation is to go out and be very successful because I want to make a difference for my community, my family first, my community second, and my race. And so I can't do that if I'm struggling. Okay. You know, when we were hunters and gatherers, you know, the guy with the lame leg, I'm sure didn't go on the hunt. And I don't know if he was even, I don't know if he was ostracized from the tribe or what. And I'm not saying we have to be like that, but you're useless if you can't help yourself. Okay. And what I've learned is corporate America is not there to empower you. They are there to give you just enough so you'll keep coming back for that next paycheck. They give you enough to feed yourself. They give you enough to drive, you know, have gas money to come back and forwards. They give you enough to pay some of your bills, but they don't give you enough to invest your money seriously. They don't give you enough, you know, to acquire real estate and things of value. They work you enough. So you generally, most of us, we go home, we have a little bit of downtime and we go to sleep. Now there's still those dummies at bars and clubs every night, but that's them. But a lot of us aren't that way. So you are never going.
Oh, come on. Hello.
Okay. Working for someone else. So if you want true independence and you want economic freedom, you may hear Greg say financial freedom, same thing. You're going to have to create your dream job. And unfortunately, your dream job probably doesn't exist. You've got to create it. Yeah. So, again, you know, I will be having a very soon, within the next couple of weeks, I'm actually doing some research for some episodes now. So my YouTube channel will be back up. These guys will be 2 of my guests. There'll be other guests that'll be on there. For right now, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just reach out to Edward Andrews on LinkedIn. I have a big LinkedIn network. I'm also on Twitter, Drew Andrews. I don't tweet as often as I used to. My focus is not on really social. My focus is on economic empowerment and equality. So those are the 2 things that, and I'm going to be working towards, not for me, but for many of us. And so definitely you guys will be hearing more from me. And I appreciate being invited to be a part of this round table. Thank you both.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Greg. Thanks, Drew.
No problem.
And,
you know what? For those, Yeah, for those who know me and those who don't, and I've said this again, you know, and these guys, they know. They don't know a lot of other things. You know, I've had dozens of jobs, and most of them either I've been fired from or I've quit. And I think one of the reasons why is because once you start educating yourself about certain things and just educating yourself about the world and the whole, it is hard to go into corporate America and play that game. And you got to understand, it's a game, okay? Politics is a game, okay? All this stuff is a game. Most people think because you go and vote, that's it. Vote's bullshit, okay? Then the reality of everything. This is one of the things that woke me up about 2016 is understanding the Electoral College, okay? Some people will probably stepping on people's toes about it. I think sometimes Black folks gotta stop with this that so-and-so died for the right to vote thing. I'm getting so tired of hearing that. Black people in the 60s didn't really die for the right to vote. They died for the right just to be here, okay? Because they weren't voting in the first place. Women weren't hardly voting, okay? You gotta understand something about the Electoral College. Back in the day, the Electoral College was built off a slave mentality, slave system, okay? That's what it's built off of. So to say that, and that's something we pass down because that's what we're taught in school. Well, so-and-so died for the right to vote. Da, 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 da. Even your Black politicians say this today. You go, Reverend Al, Jesse, what's his name, Jackson? All those guys say that stuff. That's fine, but from my research does not really dictate that's why Black people died for. They died for more than right to vote. They didn't really get the right to vote anyway because their whole thing was being able to take care of their kids, okay? Be able to take care of their families. The vote, as we talked about earlier, is a lot of economics behind it. And we need to understand that as a people. The Asians understand it, the Italians understand it, the Greeks understand it, all these other ethnic groups understand that. And we'll get into this another, everybody always talks about what did Obama do for Black people. I gotta understand, and I did some research on that too. Just as we were talking about, it's all economics. And if Black people didn't, if all they did was give the vote, yeah, they're gonna get your vote. They're gonna take your vote. If I was a politician like that, yes, I'd take your vote. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll take your vote. But if there ain't no money in it, I'm gonna do the hell I need to do. Okay? It's just like anything. And the reason, like I said, why, when I learned how corporations, businesses done stuff, I said, I need to have my own business. Because I'm just not that guy to play that game. I'm not gonna kiss nobody's ass just to have a paycheck. I ain't doing it. I've been there, done that. Okay? And then they don't, you know, these people are now, we're in a situation where everybody's scared. You should never be scared to take care of your family. You should never have to ask permission to go take care of your family, especially when you're in a situation where you don't need to be in, that you can bring a sickness back to your family and then everybody's sick and having a job ain't gonna matter because you're sick. You should never. There's too many people out here are too afraid to leave their jobs because of that, even though their health is in danger. And that's bullshit. I was in a situation back in the 80s when the Huntington Center was built. Everybody know who the Huntington, well, if you're in Columbus, Ohio, there's a building called the Huntington Center. It sits down right down on High Street, right across the street from the State House. When they first built the Huntington Center, construction group from Texas built this. We had one of the coldest winters. That's like 83, 84, 85, in between there. I worked in the mailroom. My job, I had to walk to cross the bridge, Scioto Bridge, See, I had to be there 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm walking across the bridge. 5:30. It's dark, cold as hell. Go in the mail room. Water everywhere. Okay? Sprinkler systems popped out of the ceiling. Walls cracked from the bottom of the floor to everything. It's because they never insulated that room. Okay? So all those pipes busted. So I look, I'm the only one in there. It's too dangerous to go in there. I can't go get the mail. I can't work any of the machines because there's 3 to 4 feet of water. So I fucking left. I did it. Then they got mad at me because why did you leave? Did you see the water in there? Well, I'm supposed to go in there and get electrocuted for you guys? No. Those are kind of situations I've been in the corporate America structure that I refuse to deal with that anymore. Okay? I've been in others. I was in my 20s when that happened. Then I've been in other situations. The last straw for me, and you guys know, we work together at the same place.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
And there's some articles out about what's going on there now. Well, we did discuss that off camera, but I said, no, I'm not doing that no more. After I left there, I have not really worked anywhere full time since 2010. I've been doing other things. I've been putting other businesses together. Got a cheesecake business for my mom. So there's things you can do out here. Part of getting your business is getting the word out, marketing. And you got a platform right here.
Greg's giving out free cheesecakes to all his friends.
I ain't giving out no damn free cheesecake.
Get 5 apiece.
Yes, Lord.
But that's where my story comes from, okay? So with that being said, we're gonna end this panel talk today. I've been doing this thing I call Sunset Sunday since 2016. Usually I do it off my cell phone. And basically I got the idea because I started in the summertime and I did it around sunset, okay? I usually, that was the idea for Sunset Sundays. People getting ready to go meet that mule Sunday night. And I always say this because the people, 85% of people say they hate their jobs and they stressed out. Well, right now you're stressed out about something else because of this viral pandemic situation we're in, not so much your job. Well, your jobs too, but you're more stressed out of that. Don't let that stress you out. There are things that you can do, ideas we just gave you through this panel tonight that you can do to help with your economic situation.
We talked a lot. We gave some solid ideas.
Yeah.
Too.
With that being said, I hope you got value. Share this out to people that you think that will get value for this. I've already shared some out, but share this out if you got value of what we were saying. Share this out to platforms that you think will get value. With that being said, peace. Everybody take care. Stay inside. Stop gathering. It's not good. We want to get rid of this.
Wash your hands.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
Nasty immigrants out there that don't wash their hands.
Yeah.
Even with the coronavirus, if the coronavirus was 100% lethal, there still would be dummies who wouldn't wash their hands.
And then people ain't washing their hands when they wasn't out there. So,
Well,
that's not widespread so easy.
Yeah. With that being said, everybody, peace. Take care. Have a great and safe week. Stay your butts in, and we'll see you on the next video. I'm out. We're out.